town. We've got a great opportunity, you'll hear more about that. And we're also going to talk about another part of that so streetscape that's been, which is our fountain, if you wish. We'll be talking about that in part 2 of tonight. We also have another we've had a number of successful information nights. Our last one was to do with the cemetery, and you've all heard about the outcome of that. It's been really wonderful for our community. We have one coming up next Tuesday. Doug, is that right? The 17th? Is that got to... No?
17th July.
July. 17th of July is the next one. It's to do with our coastal fringe that we share and what's happening down there. I think Ralph from the council is going to talk about that. So if you're interested or you're down this way, you should be interested. Come and have a listen to what's happening there. But I'd like to introduce Viktor Cebergs, whose artwork has sort of been down to Port Arlington and seen the dogs. I certainly have, and I'm quite interested in those. And they got names, Viktor?
Now they have. The Port dogs were based on a local identity there, and should we bring up Kelpies? It was Mungo and... Mungo was... I should know that, shouldn't I?
I'll have to go down and give Mungo a pat.
Yeah.
And we've got David Fitzsimmons over there, who's our representative from the council, from Geelong City, who's running all the art programs, not just for here, but across the city. So that sounds like a great job, David, and we're going to hear more from him. So it looks like you're standing up, Viktor, so I'll hand you straight. Do you want to talk about your role?
We'll have to do a bit of a switcheroo here because I've met quite a lot of you previously, but my role's existed for about 2.5 years now, and Viktor's involvement with this project predates my arrival at the council. But just to sort of give a little bit of context, former councillor John Dool made an allocation of $20,000 for this project, and Viktor and he have been working on it prior to my arrival. Councillor Ellis, the new councillor for the ward, has carried that over until the 2012-13 budget, of which there's around about 3 weeks left. So hence our sort of urgency is to hopefully with your agreement get this underway after tonight, and we'll get to retain that money before it sort of gets sucked up by the greater city budget. So that's where we're at the moment. I've done it since working with Viktor and coming down and meeting with the association here a few weeks back. I've been doing the rounds in council, bolstering support. We had mooted a couple of potential sites, one at the top of the boat ramp and Bayshore Avenue, the junction there at the boat harbour, and the other one over at the western end, up on that sort of plateau near the walking track. I was hoping to bring 2 options back, but the one up near at the entrance to the boat ramp hasn't really got so much support. And when I actually went down on site, I felt that down on the plateau was a really lovely space for it as well. And that walking track is going to continue around to the new Bayshore estate and 3 other estates all abutting, all of which have new sculptures going in. So we'll become quite a significant sort of sculptural walking track there. So I think that's a really nice connection. Viktor's friends with the artist that, or I should say, have worked with those artists for a long time. So there's a nice connection, and that goes from a sort of a story about country and place, and reflecting on the horizon line and the shoreline and the sort of mapping idea, and marking specific points with totem sort of markings around to a more contemporary story, actually dating from the 1800s. So maybe we'll keep on sort of, because if we arrive at the fountain, we're at about 1955 or something. So it's sort of, there's a progression there. I think that sort of works quite nicely. The other part of my consultation internally was with the land manager, which is the environment unit. I've got good support from them. Basically, it comes down to one guy. He's really happy for it to go ahead. In fact, he's happy to put some money into the landscaping around the sculpture, which is terrific, because our maintenance crews are very stretched and very concerned about maintaining the land around that, and just grass and whatever. And his only stipulation was that the community has to be happy. Like, really, the community has to be happy. So here we are, and he's going to talk to you about it.
Great, thanks, David. Well, good evening. My name is Viktor Cebergs, and I have a sculptural business called Site-Specific Art. I thought I'd just show you a little bit of work that I've done to put some sort of context to what I'm saying. I began sort of site-specific art after leaving uni now 12, 13 years ago, and I've created entries like this one, entry to the town of Sale. Get the light up on that. Can you all sort of see that?
There's more squinting.
You need to squint. Yeah. So the Wellington Shire, I've done a couple of works. Oh, that's perfect. Thank you. The Wellington Shire, I've done a couple of works for. This one was based on the schooners that used to come from Melbourne and up the river to sail over a lot of the wall and stuff like that. So it's a simple sculpture based on the three-master sail schooner setup, and it's the entry sort of to the town of Sale, made from mild steel. I create murals as well, and a lot of the murals I do are strongly based in community participation. So I've produced 3 of these murals where each panel is painted by a separate person, and there's 69 panels all up in the 2 end ones that I painted in the central one. So that's the Barn Health in Whittington, and it was sort of the imagery is positive women's imagery. It had a lot to do with the Flame Festival and stuff down there in Whittington as well.
Could you speak up a little bit?
Absolutely. Yes, I can do that. We did actually Glenn and Mark and myself. Glenn and Mark will be producing some of the other sculptures further down the Adrian Mannix track, or the next. What's the?
City Road and Bridge Street.
That's it, exactly correct. Yeah. So I worked with these 2 guys on this fire piece for the UCI cycling event, and it was just a performance piece. It had a lot to do with the Pointer Star, the North Star, and the Southern Cross. Wellington Shire. This sculpture here was based on the Currajong seed pod. A lot of my work is sort of based in histories, flora and fauna histories of certain areas. This was a mild steel, Cortini mild steel, and the pieces in their botanic gardens. Of course, the port dogs, some of you may have seen those. As we were saying before, it's 6mm stainless steel, these, and they were based on a local identity that bred Kelpies, and would walk the Kelpies down the street and tie them up out front of the...
Was that Mungo, that one?
That is probably Mungo. Yeah, it is. I'll just say that. There's another one across the road at the Rotunda as well. So I do a lot of work for the RSL. The Avenues of Honour have cypress trees down one side and radiata down the other, and they used to just chop them down and burn them and grow plane trees there. So myself and a few other sculptors that work in this figurative sort of manner, the RSL get us to come along and carve figures, local identities. This one over here, Lloyd, he flew in the Lancaster bombers in the Second World War in Northern Europe, and so I based it on him. So I took a shot from him in his flat suit and everything with the Lancaster bomber behind. This sort of works. It's really very simple work. You just carve on site, and it's carved straight from the tree. It's not taken back to the studio.
Whereabouts is that?
So that's this one's Corondat Avenue, Rokewood, out on the Golden Plains. There's a few other ones there as well.
How are they preserved? Like, what's the life?
They're probably, I say 25 years.
Yeah.
They're left with about 12 coats of decking right at the end of them. Yeah. But yeah. Just some work I've sort of done. Been lucky enough to travel up to work in the Ice Hotel in Lapland, and which is a fantastic place, and worked in the local ICAD, the local oak in Germany. Oak's beautiful timber to carve. I work in snow and ice as well, so there's a lot of festivals around the world, and we use it as a chance to meet other sculptors and work in a symposium sort of manner. So you meet other sculptors from around the world, you talk about your own work. You're invited to other places to work, and you invite them down here to work as well. And this is a little town, Naoro, and Hokkaido, northern Japan, and they just have this fest like the size of Winchelsea, and they have 26 countries from around the world, and we all come there and serve the culture. And they really do like this sort of cliche, figurative. Okay, now the sculptural installation for this area, I based it on paddle steamers that worked in and around Port Phillip and Corio Bay. In researching these paddle steamers, there was only really one that worked between Geelong and Clifton Springs, and this was a paddle steamer called the Kangaroo. And the Kangaroo was used as freight, and it was also I suppose you could call it joy rides, but it would bring people out to the mineral springs, Clifton Springs, and it was small enough to be able to land at the piers. And even when the piers were lengthened, the ozone and the Hygeia still, there's nothing officially in writing to say that they ever landed there. So I based it on this one here, the paddle steamer, the Kangaroo. And I was lucky enough from the Historical Record Centre to get an excerpt from the Geelong Advertiser, 1871. And this is the Kangaroo taking day trips out to the mineral springs from Geelong, from the Yarra Street Pier. I suppose in researching this sculpture, I got really interested in the paddle steamers. I'm not sort of one to watch trains and all this stuff, but these paddle steamers are such a beautiful thing. If you get on YouTube, if you've got time, get on YouTube and you have a look at the ones in the locks and stuff in Scotland, and they're just a really fantastic thing to see out on the ocean or out on the locks. It's just a real time period that we don't see a lot of them anymore. Now these were the two sites that David was talking about in the Adrian Managed Reserve. The one at the top here was sort of, I suppose the site's gone all the wayside.
It's very crowded anyway. It was, would have involved moving a picnic table, and I wasn't all that happy with just how cluttered it was, and there's a lot going on, which was going to compromise the sculpture anyway.
Yes.
Okay, we've got the microphone to go.
Oh, great. Oh,
There you go.
thank you.
Work
Thanks a lot.
between yourself.
Oh, that's
It'll work well.
Turn it on.
I think this has got it on, haven't you, Piers?
Hello.
Yeah, it's on.
That's great. All right. So we chose the second site here, and the second site is above the boat ramp. If you're heading from the end of Jetty Road down to the boat ramp, it's on the far side above there, and it's a big plateau there, quite a large space. The space we're sort of looking at is dissected by a path that leads from the top of the hill at the boat ramp over to a platform and stairs that lead down to the beach. Man, I've got. These were some of the influences I was using. The image here in the middle at the bottom. That's sort of what I started working from. So it was taking the idea of the paddle steamer wheel in the third dimension and bringing it down to a two-dimensional object, I suppose. I have chosen 25mm mild steel and laser cut sections. I'll just come back to this next image here. This is a very rough two-dimensional sketch on site. Now,
Victor, could you just move over?
Yes. I am large. Now, I've rendered it in the red purely because every single paddle steamer wheel that I've seen is rendered red. The raw material, as I said, will be 25mm mild steel. There's a new business opening up in Geelong, which is a computerised gas cutter, and he can cut 60mm, 25, 30, 40, whatever it is. This will be his first job if it comes through.
in trying to portray the third dimension in this very two-dimensional raw material, all these cutouts, you'll need to stand back a little bit from it, and all the cutouts I've sort of worked out, they really create quite a bit of depth in a real flat surface, so I've rendered it very, very flat. The pieces that are cut out of the mild steel I'll keep, and some of them will be welded back in to stop people climbing on it, or to stop the climbing threat, I suppose you could call it. The timber in front here is ironbark timber, 250 by 300, and the timbers came from behind the Cunningham Pier bluestone wall when the new sort of area was cut in there, the little bay, whatever you like to say, where the carousel was cut in there. So we've had the timbers for some time now. I've designed the little toggle system to hold them all together, and they'll sit around about 500 above, so it'll act as a seating area as well, if need be. Now, the way I've put it here, the way I've rendered it, I've portrayed it, the back metal structure can be changed. It won't necessarily, it can be, the aspect of it can be changed. The orientation can be changed, exactly right.